Why does your manager get nervous when you stop talking? Because silence changes the power dynamic. When you are the person who explains everything, smooths everything over, answers instantly, volunteers context, fills awkward gaps, and keeps the emotional weather comfortable, your manager does not just see you as an employee, they see you as a pressure valve. You are the person who makes uncertainty disappear before leadership has to deal with it. So when you stop over explaining, stop chasing approval, stop defending yourself in every conversation, and stop narrating your loyalty on demand, something strange happens. The room gets quiet. And your manager starts wondering what changed. Not because you did anything wrong, because you stopped giving free reassurance. In many workplaces, talking is not only communication, talking is compliance. Talking is proof that you are still trying to be understood by people who may not be trying to understand you back. Every time you give a long explanation, you hand your manager a map of your insecurity. You show them where you are worried. You show them what you are afraid they might think. You show them how much approval still matters to you. That is why some managers love the employee who keeps explaining. The over-explainer does their emotional labor for them. If a deadline moves, you explain why you can still handle it. If another project lands on your desk, you explain how you will make it work. If someone takes credit, you explain your contribution gently. If a meeting gets tense, you explain your intention so nobody feels uncomfortable. You are not just doing the job. You are protecting the system from consequences. But when you stop talking so much, your manager loses a tool. They no longer get instant reassurance that you are available for anything. They no longer get a free emotional temperature check. They no longer get unlimited access to your thoughts, plans, fears, and willingness. Now they have to read your actions instead of your anxiety. And that makes weak managers nervous because calm silence is hard to control. A person who talks too much can be redirected, interrupted, softened, flattered, guilted, or pulled into another explanation. A person who says, I can take this on if we move one of my current priorities, is harder to manipulate. A person who says, please send that in writing, is harder to corner. A person who says, I understand, and then lets the silence sit, is harder to pressure. That silence says, I am listening, but I am not performing. It says, I heard you, but I am not auditioning for fairness. It says, I do not need to prove my value with extra words. That is the part managers feel. They may not be able to name it, but they notice when your nervous energy disappears. They notice when you stop laughing off disrespect. They notice when you stop volunteering personal details to make them comfortable. They notice when you stop turning every unfair request into a speech about how committed you are. And sometimes they test it. They ask if everything is okay. They say you seem different. They imply you are not being collaborative. They call your calm boundary a change in attitude. But often, nothing is wrong with your attitude. You simply stopped leaking strategy. You stopped announcing every emotion before you made a decision. You stopped giving people a preview of how to talk you out of your own boundary. This is where many employees panic. They think, if I do not explain, they will misunderstand me. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Some people were already committed to misunderstanding you. Your extra words did not protect you. They just gave them more material to twist. That does not mean you should become cold, rude, or secretive. It means you should become precise. Speak when the words protect your work. Clarify the facts, set the boundary, or document the decision. Do not speak just to reduce someone else's discomfort. Do not explain your boundary until it sounds negotiable. Do not turn a simple no into a courtroom defense. Try this instead. When your manager adds work, say, I can do that. Which current priority should move? Then stop talking. When they make a vague criticism, say, can you give me one specific example so I can address it accurately? Then stop talking. When they pressure you in a hallway conversation, say, please email me the details so I can review them properly. Then stop talking. When they ask why you are quieter, say, I am focused on being clear and intentional. Then stop talking. The silence after a clean sentence is not empty. It is where your boundary stands upright. And the people who benefited from your over-explaining will feel that silence as resistance. Let them. Your job is not to keep everyone comfortable with unlimited access to your nervous system. Your job is to communicate clearly, protect your work, protect your time, and stop confusing over-explaining with professionalism. Because the moment you stop talking just to prove you are safe, some managers realize something. You are not easier to manage anymore. You are harder to use. And that is why your silence makes them nervous. This is Cubicle Rules.